How's it going, you spicy individuals? Welcome to a new episode of Inside IUE Sports. I'm your host, Travis Lang, and today I have somebody that, well, isn't from IU East, but he's joined on recently. This is Matt Gehring. He's the new athletic student success coach.
That's correct, yeah.
A long title.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
You're new here to IU East. You're in your, I believe, first year. So
Yep.
Let's just get the formalities out of the way. First of all, where are you from?
Yeah, sure. I'm originally from Northwest Ohio, from Findlay, Ohio. Graduated from Defiance College, was a four-year letterman on the men's golf team there. From there, had the opportunity to be an assistant coach there. That led me to be the head men and women's golf coach at Earlham College right across town. Was there from 2015 to August of 2020. And, when this job came open, my wife works here at IU East, so it was kind of a logical fit. I always felt like an extended member of the Red Wolf family anyways. So when this job came open, it made sense. So happy to be here. Hopefully I can help some student athletes gain some success in the classroom.
So I know that you took the job when it opened up, but what made you want to be a student success coach?
Sure. So, at Earlham, my number one priority was the academic side. You're a student first and an athlete second. And I had the opportunity to be the coordinator of the academics for student athletes. So I was already doing this in kind of an extra capacity on top of my coaching responsibilities. And I gained a strong passion for it. Being able to see a student athlete through the 4 years in college to be as successful as they can academically. I mean, that's really what it's all about. Sure, the championships are, that's what we strive for. But to really see them come in as 18-year-old young men and women and to see how they mature, how they grow academically through whether it's getting into grad school, getting into med school, getting that first job right out of college, that's something to me that's really special. So being able to kind of take a step away from athletic coaching while still being able to have an impact in student athlete lives is something that I was really trying to search for. And when this job came open, I mean, it was a logical fit, being able to work with all 200 student athletes to help them navigate the journey of college. I think once I can jump in and get my feet wet with that, it's going to be a really special thing.
And it's interesting that you said student first, athlete second.
Yep.
I know, at least for me, sometimes I can get caught up in broadcasting or doing my jobs.
Sure.
But it's so easy to forget about the academics because that's really why you're in college. You're studying, you're in your major.
Yep.
How do you change a student's mindset to switch from focusing solely on athletics or their jobs or anything like that and focus also on their academics?
Right. So I think it's twofold. I think if you have a student athlete that's mindset is to, try to go pro after college, okay, let's have a plan B. 0.001% of student athletes ever go pro. So why not have that backup plan, right? Let's be as successful as we can so we can set ourselves up for a successful 40 years after we graduate. Now, on the flip side of that, so a lot of student athletes come in here just wanting to exhaust their last 4 years of being able to play a sport that they've played all of our lives. So being able to channel that, but understanding why you're really here. And that's to get a degree, get an IU degree, and exhaust all of the opportunities that you can while you're here, while still able to maintain the priority for your athletics. So that's kind of what my position is to help kind of frame the priorities that a student athlete's going to have to take part in while they're here.
And what are your impressions of the academic programs here at IU East?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's an IU degree for a reason. It's one of the best educational facilities in the state of Indiana and in the region. So I think the students that come here, for the most part, are academically, centered, academically minded, which makes my job a little bit easier. Of course, that's not always the case, but part of my job is to help students realize what their potential is. So while some students may not necessarily grasp that right away, once they get here, once they know what the resources are here at IU East, and once they know all of their opportunities that they can take part in, I think that it's a really exciting journey that they can take part in. So if I can be a small piece to that puzzle, that's what I'm here for.
And when it comes to being that small piece of the puzzle, how do you approach working with a student? Are you more of a hands-on type of person? Are you hands-off? Are you more of a guidance? How do you work that?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. I think it's a case-by-case basis. You kind of get a feel for what the student athlete wants, what makes them tick. Some need that extra hand holding, and that's fine. You hope to give them enough guidance and enough advice that, eventually they can kind of go off and be a little bit more independent and you don't have to supervise them as much, while understanding that some kids they need that. So I really think that it's really up to the student, each individual student, how I approach them. And that comes from having conversations and getting to know them, understanding what type of person they are, what kind of student they are, and kind of going from there. It's not really, it's not cookie cutter by any means, that my approach. I really want to individualize, just like the education here is individualized and it's, small group settings and stuff like that. That's how I want to approach my job, is to make sure that every student athlete feels like their needs, their specific needs, are being met, and that it's not just, general conversations.
And there are many student athletes on campus.
Yep.
I'm not too sure how many there are, but do you know how many people you might be working with?
Yeah, so my caseload right now is about 175 for this semester. That will grow just because some students, when I started and the transition, it made more sense to keep them with the Succes coach that they've been working with, just to not, ruffle any feathers or, create any waves where there didn't need to be any. So when I'm fully with all student athletes, it'll be about 200 student athletes. So while that seems daunting and it seems like it can't necessarily be an individual approach, not all student athletes will end up meeting with me on a routine basis, just because they don't need to. The 4.0 student who's in the honors program and doing what they need to do probably doesn't necessarily need to meet with me on a weekly basis or a bi-weekly basis. I'm more than happy to. But my role and responsibility is, first and foremost, first years, making sure that we're having them adjust well to campus, making sure that they're adapting to the differences of a high school education and a college education. And then after that first year, kind of taking the temperature of the group. Who wants to continue to work with me on a routine basis, who really needs to work with me on a routine basis, and who are some that, okay, they've got a good head on their shoulders. They probably don't have to necessarily have the meetings that they were having before. So, yeah, it's a large group, but I'm looking forward to getting to know all of them on a better basis.
How do you see your role in the student success coach, department? How do you see it developing over these next few years as you get more comfortable with the students, as you get more acclimated with who's there? How do you think it'll progress throughout the years?
Yeah, I think my predecessor did a really good job of kind of setting the tone for what the expectations are for this role. So I think, learning what he did and kind of how to navigate that role. But I want them to know that I'm there for support, and it's not just from the academic standpoint. I'm a sports-minded person, played college sports. I want to be there at the basketball games, the volleyball games, the soccer matches, whatever's going on. I want them to know that I support them outside of the academic realm, because at the end of the day, while they are student athletes and it is student first, they're here to play a sport. They're here to excel in the sport that they were recruited in. And I want them to know that I support them outside of the classroom. I'm really going to support them inside the classroom, but I equally support them on the field of play. So I want to be as present in their lives as they allow me to be, while still, maintaining that relationship of, if you need to get stuff done and you're not doing what you need to do, we're going to figure out ways that we need to get it done. So yeah, those are just some of the ways that I'm looking to kind of expand this role. And I'm sure, I don't know what I don't know yet, right? So I'm sure as the months go on, as the days goes on, there's going to be ideas and things that we can do to kind of make sure that we have a positive impact on student athletes.
Experience is key,
Yep.
But also you've been in that position before. You've been a student athlete. What do you remember from your time as a golf player that could help you give advice for players right now in college?
I wish I had somebody like me working with me when I was in college, if that makes sense. There's student athletes really have a lot on their plate. Not a lot of people realize, they don't see the behind the scenes. They don't see, the 5 a.m. wake ups, the 6 a.m. workouts, going to breakfast, then going to class from 8 to 1, 8 to 2, whatever it may be. then going to practice, then going to film, then going to study. Like there's a lot that they have to do while still maintaining a social life while they're on campus, because these 4 years, it's supposed to be the best time of your life. So you still got to maintain a social life. You may have a job. College isn't cheap. It's not free. You may have to have a job. So navigating that, I wish I had somebody that I could just bounce ideas off of, hear about, time management strategies, study skill strategies, networking strategies, maybe partnering with career development, stuff like that. So having that experience as a student athlete and what I wish I would have had, that's kind of how I frame what I want to provide to the student athletes here. So there's a lot of things that are brewing up here. Just got to figure out what is already in place at IU East and what we have the ability to do. So really excited about those possibilities.
Well, before I let you go, I just want to leave you with one final question.
Okay.
If you're an athlete in high school right now and you're looking to play in a college level, why choose IU East for both academics and athletics?
Yeah, I think the big thing is you have to look at the entire picture. You have to look at the best of both worlds. Who's going to provide you with the best academic experience and who's going to provide you with the best athletic experience. If you look from the athletic side, we have some of the best coaches in the state, some of the best coaches in the region with some of the highest caliber, athletic programs around in NAIA. So you're getting that. Now, a lot of the times when you go to a high athletic institution, you're going to sacrifice on the academic side, right? I don't think that you necessarily have to sacrifice academically coming to IU East. The level of support that you get here, the level of opportunities that we have to provide for all of our student athletes here kind of make us second to none in the area for, the best of both worlds. So I think if you're looking to excel in the classroom, excel in your sport and be pushed to the brink in both, I don't think you need to look anywhere past IU East.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Matt, for stopping by the show. Yep. It's great to have you here, and hopefully I'll see you at some sporting events in this upcoming fall.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.